Hey out there, happy Monday. I hope everyone had a good week. So let's start next week off on the right foot. So as you know, October is upon us, and so I want to keep the horror fan base, horror spirit of Halloween strong and going. All right, so I thought in this video I'd show you my horror movie collection. This was talking about specifically my Blu Ray collection, and I figure in the next upcoming video this week I will put out a horror movie DVD collection. Alright, with that said, let's get started. Alright, I have here It Follows. Now, I had the privilege of watching this in theater, and little did I know, I didn't know too much about it going in, which is always a good thing. I mean, I guess there's some people that prefer knowing as much as they possibly can, before jumping into the movie theater. But this one caught me by surprise, actually. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, do go check it out with some friends. Should be available in most streaming platforms. Alright, next we have Cabin in the Woods. Again, this is another one I saw in theater. Guy went in mostly blind. I had in the back of my head, I had this idea of like, oh, what's the big surprise, and then I didn't, until it was revealed, I had no idea. And I had a blast with this one, Cabin in the Woods. Now, I wouldn't say this one's 100% on the horror spectrum, but World War Z did have some quite a bit of CGI zombies in it, which I didn't love, but it was something different. I mean, it had zombies and Brad Pitt. Can't complain too much. I always try to tell myself I'm gonna try to see this once a year, and hopefully I've kept my promise. Freddy vs. Jason's always, that guilty pleasure movie, at least for me, myself, speaking for myself. Actually, it's a reminder right now. I should put it in this coming week. Alright, another one I saw in theaters, Insidious. I saw this in a very tight-knit theater at night, and came home and couldn't get this film out of my head because it freaked me out. Some of the scenery and imagery, and the score in this is just bonkers, in a good way. Alright, Insidious. Next up we have Annihilation. Now this is more on the sci-fi spectrum. Again, I think I'd say I'd seen quite a bit of movies in theaters over a decade now. I saw this one in theaters. It's based on a book called Annihilation. I think most horror fans have this in their collection. The Evil Dead 2 by Sam Raimi stars Bruce Campbell, as you know. Enough said. Evil Dead 2. Next, now this is a remake. Night of the Living Dead. It's a remake of the 1960s black and white version. This one's directed by Tom Savini, and he still is to this day a great special effects guru. This guy knows his stuff. Fun fact, he worked on the original Night of the Living Dead that was directed by George Romero. Alright, There's another sweet one here, The Conjuring. Yeah, I feel like possessed people to freak you out, and possessed dolls. This one's for you. Another Hall of Famer here, Halloween, the original Halloween on Blu Ray here. Got it. It's directed by John Carpenter. I don't even have to say it. A lot of people have seen this once or twice in their lives. Next up we have Sinister, directed by Scott Derrickson. The sequel also came out later on. It wasn't as memorable as this one. Another cult classic here. Big fan base, very big. Obviously big enough to put out 9 sequels. Next up we have, I should actually watch this once again. This is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I'm sure a lot of you see the title and instantly want to skip it, but it's actually not half bad. I'm thinking about revisiting this one hopefully this week. Yeah. Next up, another film I got to see on the big screen, The Woman in Black. This was fresh off Harry Potter. Daniel Radcliffe stars in this one. It is spooky, very spooky. One of my favorites here, the Friday the 13th franchise. Friday the 13th Part 2. This is like the introduction of being on-screen Jason. Yes, he has a bag over his head, but it's still effective. The killings are, again, creative. Friday the 13th Part 2. Alright, next up we have in the Conjuring universe, The Curse of La Llorona. If you don't know the backstory, it's about this, it's a folklore story about a woman. Many years ago, she drowned her kids, and her ghost returns from the grave, I guess, apparently. But yeah, this one's not half bad either. Right, if you want to check this out sometime, The Curse of La Llorona. This one's going to be a hit or miss for most of you out there. It is called Willie's Wonderland, and it stars a speechless Nicolas Cage. Yes, you heard that right. He doesn't say a word in this film, but his presence alone is enough it's watchable. Alright, Willie's Wonderland. Next up is a favorite of mine, Warm Bodies. Now, if you haven't read the book, it's about a zombie apocalypse, love story, romance. Alright, Warm Bodies. Next up is, maybe half of you out there haven't heard of this one either. It's Amusement. Amusement here. This one's effective too in terms of the jump scares, which are few and far between. But if you ever get a chance to come upon this one, do check it out. Amusement. In my opinion, this one's a pretty underrated film. Mama. It's a ghost story. It's a ghost story type of film. Another Hall of Famer here, as you all know. Countless sequels and spin-offs. And Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, this is right. Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 1, directed by Wes Craven. This is where it all began. Nightmare on Elm Street, again, another introduction by Freddy Krueger. Another sequel to a film I had just mentioned, Insidious. This one's Insidious Chapter 2. Here we go. Not, I'd say the jump scares in this one didn't pay off for some odd reason. It wasn't as effective as the original, part 1. I don't know why. I mean, the cast, like, all the elements were there. Like, the cast, so I don't know. Maybe it was the story? I don't know. Next up, another Hall of Famer here. Again, from Halloween director John Carpenter's The Thing. This one's very, if you like practical effects, this one is the one to watch. In fact, I will watch it again sometime this month. Many sequels have come and gone with this series. Resident Evil. This is the original. Came out back in 2004. Starring Mila Jovovich. Yes, this is very action heavy and light on the horror. So it's more of action sci-fi. I mean, it's got zombies in it, but they're not on the forefront, I'd say. It seems like the film wants you to focus on the story, the narrative, where it's going, which is, pretty common these days for a film. Next up, we have Silence of the Lambs. I was gonna say Silence of the Lamb, but Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. What is there to be said already about this one? It's got Anthony Hopkins in it. It's got Jodie Foster, and it's got a serial killer named Buffalo Bill. What more can you ask for, right? Another cinema flick I saw, an Oculus. Again, this one I went in mostly blind. To be honest with you, I actually wanted to see it because the WWE, their film production was a part of this, and so that kind of got me hooked a little bit, although I didn't know too much about it. But yeah, it's not half bad. Some might say this is a snoozer, but I enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, again, it's part of the Conjuring universe. Annabelle. It's about the possessed doll. If you don't know, she was the Annabelle doll was first introduced in the Conjuring film, and this whole Conjuring expanded with the Conjuring universe. And this was part of it. This doll. Annabelle. Next up, we have another underrated movie, Dead Silence. This was the another film directed by James Wan. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was jump scares really stood out to me. Recently, this was a steelbook copy of Cabin in the Woods that was given to me by a friend of mine. It's basically the same film. Alright, that's it for the Blu-ray section.